ask you something that's going around right now. A lot of this conversation about President Biden getting criticized from both sides of the aisle for pardoning his son Hunter after repeatedly saying he would never do it. And a lot of people are saying that it's hypocritical, etc.
But he didn't have to volunteer that lie to begin with.
I'm going to stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed
You really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all of a sudden?
No, I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay, so Charlamagne the God went on The View and things got a little testy, just to say the least. Now, they're going to talk about a whole range of topics, but the one I wanted to focus on is the topic of Joe Biden pardoning his son Hunter Biden and what that means for the party, what that means for the moral high ground. They're going to have a back and forth. And Whoopi, as you see earlier, she's going to get upset because he's going to say Joe Biden lied. Now, for some reason, Whoopi doesn't think it's a lie. And at least she's consistent, because remember, she said that the other day.
Because I respect it as a parent. I understand why he would do it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to understand why lie about it for so long.
I would stop calling it a lie.
Okay, why repeatedly say you're not going to and you do? And second,
I would have told Whoopi it's an obvious lie.
I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over. And this is just my feeling, because at some point you get to the place where you just go, so I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
So Whoopi's essentially advocating that, hey, the other side, which I think is evil, are doing these bad things, so we should also start doing these bad things. Why should we walk the, quote, straight and narrow? But if Whoopi truly believes her side is good, then doing evil things will make you evil too. Here's a 1980s cartoon explaining that concept.
Evil cheats. That's its nature. It does whatever unscrupulous or immoral thing it has to win. That's why we call them evil. Only good is not allowed to cheat. If good adopts the ways of evil, it becomes evil. So if good cheats, evil automatically wins.
So I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground.
Listen,
they don't have to do that.
I'm a Democrat. Tell me what the moral high ground is.
The moral high ground is nobody's above the law. I respect what the jurors are saying. He don't have to do that.
So we're mad at him because he changed his...
No.
Just let me get this straight. Joe Biden promises to do the right thing, to be the good guy, not to pardon his son. Truth, justice, all that crap. And then he changes his mind. And no one's supposed to be upset at that. He promised to do the right thing and didn't do the right thing in the end. And people are not supposed to call it out for the lie that it was. So yeah, I think Whoopi's trying to play a semantics game. That when he may have made the statement, when he made it, he was being truthful at that particular point in time. But she doesn't understand. It's not what you say, but what you do.
By the way, I'm not mad at him pardoning Hunter Biden.
But you sound like you're mad.
No.
if I can get in on this, I actually think it went further, and this is one thing we really disagree on. Joe Biden made a point of saying we stand by our institutions and the impartiality of the Department of Justice.
Yes.
Democrats ran on that. The same DOJ indicted Hunter Biden. How we shouldn't be saying it's corrupt like Donald Trump does. But then in his statement pardoning Hunter Biden, he says that it was a political pursuit by his own Department of Justice.
Can you explain to me why it is that when Joe Biden does something, everybody clutches their pearl?
Well, let's be fair. He is the president of the United States, the leader of the country. So yeah, when Joe Biden makes a promise to the American people and it goes back on that promise, it is going to be a little more pearl clutching than if Robert down the street makes the same promise, right? Or makes a similar promise. So yeah, people are going to be a little bit more sensitive when their president is telling them, I'm not going to do something because it's the right thing to do, and then does that particular thing.
He's wrong.
Nobody
he lied.
criticized Donald Trump more than me or Charlamagne.
I'm sorry. Yeah, people have criticized him more. I've criticized him more. We've all criticized him more, but you're missing my question.
Okay.
My question is, what is it that makes people flip out with Joe, but we don't have the same kind of thing.
Well, I don't think people are flipping out with Joe. I think Democrats are flipping out with Joe because Democrats believe that they don't represent what he's currently representing. But that's just not true. That's why I say they stand on this moral high ground that simply does not exist. It comes to political parties. If you pick a side, right, if you say you're a Democrat, if you say you're a Republican, you refuse to be objective about anything.
That's why I'm an independent.
Yes, but
I think that's the best way to go.
But that's not a monolith. We're not, Democrats are not a monolith.
But why can't you say when Democrats are wrong? And why can't Republicans say when Republicans are wrong?
I'll tell you when Democrats are wrong.
So you don't think Joe Biden is wrong?
No, I don't. And can I just point this out to you? The president has a pardon power, right?
I didn't say you were ridiculous, Ms. Goldberg. I would never. I said that. I just think that's ridiculous.
Think about it.
I think he's right. I think that is ridiculous. The fact that they are so entrenched that Joe Biden can openly deceive the American people. Call it a lie what you want. He said, this is something I won't do for the good of the country. And he did it. And they said he didn't do anything wrong. Both Whoopi and Sonny. That shows you it's not about objective reality with them. It's about pushing a narrative. It could be anybody in that seat other than Trump. And they'd probably be saying the same thing, pushing they're doing the right thing no matter what, even in the face of overwhelming evidence. Even Democrats are saying he lied. Gavin Newsom is saying he lied. He believed him. Whoopi and Sonny. But you know what? I will say this. They're down for the cause. You need some diehards like that. You need some people who are willing to go down with the ship, and they're going all the way down. They have hitched their tent to Joe Biden, and he's not a liar. They're down. They're down for whatever. So, I commend their commitment to this man, but they committed to him. They don't care. Facts be damned. Joe Biden doesn't lie.
Just think about it this way. Just very quickly, can you reframe it in this way and think about it maybe in this way? The president has the ultimate pardon power. Every president has done this, right? Yeah. And so people are saying is that Joe Biden is now a liar, as opposed to Joe Biden is someone who now knows that the person that is going to be in the White House is on a revenge tour and his son is on an enemies list. And so he is using his rightful political power to pardon his son. Now, is that a lie, or is that perhaps being pragmatic, having a change of opinion, as opposed to the president-elect who has lied almost 40,000 times during his first term?
Now, we're about to hear Charlamagne's answer, but I can sum up her question in one word. Whataboutism. What about Trump, right? Biden lied and said all this. What about the other guy, right? That's her question. So simply, whataboutism. Let's see how Charlamagne responds to it.
I can't say what it is because I'm not in
the moral high ground. Like, what's the faux outrage?
Neither one of them have the moral high ground. That's what I'm trying to get everybody to understand. But when you are a diehard Democrat or a diehard Republican, you refuse to be objective about the other party. Like, it's like we're watching them do something wrong, but we're making excuses for it. We watch Republicans do things wrong and they make excuses for it. Why can't we just all be objective and call it what it is?
Because it's not balanced.
It's not the same.
Now, I got to give Charlamagne credit. He called them out, right? You can't be objective. You're too involved in this. Look at you, things that are obviously wrong. You can't say they're wrong because you're too in the tank for the Democrat Party. And I don't even think they realize he called them out.
Let me ask you this. Trump's campaign ads, for some, they're saying they were very effective. And in one in particular ad, he used a clip of you from the Breakfast Club saying, quote, Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners. You say that line was taken out of context. I know it was. But it went on to become one of his most effective campaign ads.
Now, I got to pause it right here because that campaign ad was not taken out of context. And I can prove it to you right now. So it all starts with this ad about VP Harris and her support for transgender operations in prisons, tax funded.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
It's hard to believe, but it's true. Even the liberal media was shocked Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners and illegal aliens.
Every transgender inmate would have access.
Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
All right, so that ad ran on NFL Sundays because obviously Trump is trying to get young men, and young men watch football. So Charlamagne watches NFL football and saw this ad, and they reacted to it. Here's their reaction.
That ad they was running during the football games this weekend, claiming the vice president supports funding gender transition surgeries for all prison inmates and migrants in the U.S. That was nuts. I don't know if it was.
I wouldn't say nuts, but that was crazy.
That was funny.
I don't know if it was the backdrop of football. But when you hear the narrator say Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners, that one line, I was like, hell no, I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to that.
I definitely see that. She did.
That ad was effective.
Kamala took a picture with a transgender. And it was this what they were saying, that it made it seem like Kamala supports transgender sex changes in jail with our money. That's what it came across.
Yeah, isn't that what they're saying?
It literally said that Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners, and it talks about how she supports funding gender transition surgeries for all prison inmates and migrants in the United States. That ad was impactful. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, damn.
Was it because it was during football?
Yes.
I think it was because it was during football.
But the last week, like the contrast of it.
Yes.
But the last week they had the same thing running on Tim Walsh and said he likes tampons in boys' bathrooms.
I would not have paid that. I don't think I would have paid that commercial no attention if it was any other time. But when you're watching football and you just what the hell? In between big commercials, they give you this?
So then the Trump campaign saw Charlamagne's reaction, added that reaction to the original ad, and this is what came out.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners, every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
Hell no, I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to that.
Kamala supports transgender sex changes in jail with our money.
Kamala even supports letting biological men compete against our girls in their sports. Kamala is for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
So now let's pause and think about this. Charlamagne is against paying taxpayer dollar for gender-affirming care for prisoners. He agrees with the ad. He thinks the ad is a good ad. So how was he taken out of context? What was taken out of context? Maybe they're going to tell us now, but I don't see any. I think they just said that just to say that. It doesn't seem to be taken out of context. And you have gotten a full context from the first video all the way through.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. But what were you actually saying in the clip? And can you please explain that? And how does it make you feel that the campaign used you like that?
Well, it's never good to be taken out of context, but I was explaining to my listeners how effective I thought the actual ad was. Like, that the ad was effective before I was in it. I was just sitting at home watching football and I saw it and I was like, whoa. And so I knew the immediate reaction was going to be, people are going to say, hell no, I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to that. So I was explaining that to my listeners.
But when you hear the narrator say Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners, that one line, I was like, hell no, I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to that.
I definitely see that.
That ad was effective.
I mean, yeah, it never feels good to be taken out of context, but what I didn't like the most was that they didn't do anything to combat it. Right. I would have ran the same ad and just said, Donald Trump, what is it? Donald Trump supports. What was it?
He was the one that was supporting tax.
Yes, Donald Trump supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Obviously, they're flailing right now because I don't think anyone in the electorate, unless you were just in a coma, would believe that Donald Trump was in favor of taxpayer dollars going to sex changes for prisoners, right? That's not a very conservative thing that you'd have to worry about. Matter of fact, if that ad came out, it would be less likely to be believed because it would be so outrageous, right? So what? Who cares? That's not what he's saying now. So, but if an ad saying Kamala said that and she believed it, well, then that's a different type of ad. So I don't think Charlamagne's ad would have been effective. But I like to see them squirm around the fact that he wasn't taken out of context. He was taken in context. He enjoyed that ad. He agreed with that ad. Everything about that ad he said was right on the money, right on the messaging. And they used what he was saying to bolster the ad even more. And I think he's now trying to just play cover because he knows how Whoopi and Sonny is. But at the end of the day, right, that ad was in full context. And I think Charlamagne's just afraid to say it on The View.